Hey everyone, and welcome to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up, featuring two guys getting drunk and predicting the 2018 Oscar Awards. That's right, bitch. We're back with predictions.
Hey Mike, who did that synonym come from?
Me. And Brittany, bitch. So we're going to predict the 2018 Oscars. This used to be called the Oscar pregame episode, and we used to do it on the actual Oscar day and put it out that same day. And we've kind of realized like it would be more effective to put this out, in the week before the Oscars to give you guys some time to listen to it before it kind of becomes defunct when the Oscars happen, and then we do the wrap up episode.
I think we'd give people like 2, 3, maybe 1 hour to listen to it before the Oscars started.
Yeah. And we're also differently from how we've done it in the past. We're not going to go for 2 hours on this episode. Because we've gotten our reactions to the nominations out already in our nominations reaction video. So this will just be us kind of going through all the Oscar categories, and each of us will give our individual predictions for what we think is going to win in each category, with a little discussion here and there. But this week we're drinking Cutty Sark blended Scotch whiskey. I'm going to pour myself a little bit of that now. Joe's already beat me to the punch.
It's very good. Mike and I consumed a lot of Cutty Sark when we lived together.
A lot of Cutty Sark, a lot of Minecraft, a lot of Drake's Take Care record.
The year was 2012.
Was it 2012 or 2011? Yeah, I guess it was 2012.
It was 2012-ish. Yeah, it's still the fucking smoothest. It's my favorite Scotch, honestly.
One of the best
and it's so
bangs
cheap.
for your buck, I feel like, because it's pretty cheap. But like, I don't know. I fucking love Cutty Sark.
Yeah.
I'll defend it till the day I die.
So tasty.
So I'm going by my spreadsheet because I'm a nerd that I've got. So I don't know what kind of order we want to go in, because I don't know if mine is following any order. Like if you go to you're looking through Gold Derby to read the nominees, right? So
right.
What is the last category they have?
The last category they have is Best Live Action Short.
Minus the shorts, because I don't know how to predict the shorts. Unless you've seen any of them, or...
I've seen a handful, but I didn't...
Oh, all right. Yeah, let's go through them then. I didn't know you had seen any of them.
Oh,
I don't have predictions. But...
I already talked about the shorts that I had seen last time that we spoke, really.
Do you have a prediction, though? Or?
No real... I mean, I have what's in front of me, really.
What Gold Derby is predicting.
Yeah. I have what Gold Derby thinks.
That would be my best guess now, because I don't have...
Yeah. So let's see. So if we're going to go through it backwards... Best Live Action Short. We're not going to read through the nominees, are we? Or should I?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. And then we have DeKalb Elementary, The Silent Child, The 11 O'Clock, My Nephew Emmett, and Watu Woke / All of Us. And it says DeKalb Elementary, which I think... that's the only one I think I've seen a trailer for out of these, and I said it's incredibly haunting. I think the live action trailer, I didn't mention this last time, but the live action trailer is just kind of like this one shot, and it cuts through kind of, it's like the reception at this elementary. They're helping these kids, yada yada yada, and then some kid walks in, and he's a bit older, and he's like, "Can I use your phone real quick?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And then they walk away, and just very nonchalantly, he just starts opening a bag, and there's an AR in it.
Yeah, that's definitely winning this.
Yes. But it's
although they might have voted already. I can't remember when voting closes for the Oscars.
It's so fucking. It's like, it gives me chills to think about, just because like the pacing of the trailer is like super like, whoa, man. I did just send Mike a screenshot of like my Movie Pass app, and I'm sad that I didn't go before today. Maybe I'll go before the Oscars, but the theater that's right down the street from me is doing like that whole they'll usually do this. They'll play all of the, it might just be all the live action ones instead of all the animated ones, But usually I have a really big beef with that because I feel like they'll usually run those after the Oscars, which at that point it's like, what's the point?
Well, to be honest, it's probably something that like the Academy puts out, and it's like they probably have like a bunch of reels or DCP packages of those, and they probably only have a limited number that they're sending out. So like some theaters are probably only getting them after the Oscars because they have to be, at a week at a certain theater, and then another theater can't get it until the week after the Oscars. So they might have just lucked out this year and got it before the Oscars finally.
And I'm doing experts. Is that what we want to do, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So then for best,
although the user ones are usually the same because they're going by what the experts are saying.
Well, I was actually looking.
We're looking at, for anyone who's curious, we're looking at goldderby.com. If you're like an Oscar nut like we are, it's a great site to go to. Or even just for like the Golden Globes, they do like America's Next Top Model and a bunch of stuff. Anything that has to do with like predicting and statistics, and like you can bet not money but like points and stuff, and like make predictions and win points. I don't really know how the points get used on the site. It's more just kind of like a way to show off like how well you predicted something, I guess, on the site.
I was just looking at all, which I guess is like experts, users. There's a few other categories and they were a little different. But I'm looking at experts right now, which I think is the most trusted. So for best documentary short, there's Heaven is a Traffic Jam on the 405, Edith plus Eddie, Heroin, Knife Skills, and Traffic Stop. I talked about this during our Oscar reactions. Heaven is a Traffic Jam on the 405. Did I say that right the first time? Who knows? I did watch that. That's available on YouTube right now. I don't remember exactly who put it out. It was some just sort of online publication, but it's a fantastic short film, or fantastic documentary short form. I haven't watched any of these other ones.
I've heard good things about Knife Skills, but I haven't seen any of the short ones yet.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know what any of the other ones are about. And then for best animated short, we have Dear Basketball, Garden Party, Lou, Negative Space, and Revolting Rhymes. I have watched Dear Basketball. It's supposed to win. I think it's a terrible short film. It's fucking stupid.
I love basketball.
I love basketball. Sometimes I bounce the ball up and down. It's like, yeah, Kobe, you're fantastic.
This is my basketball. This is your bouncy ball.
It's just like a goofy, I don't know. I can appreciate the animation and everything. I just think Kobe Bryant becoming like a poet after he plays basketball is kind of like George W. Bush being like, hey guys, I have a lot of regrets and now I'm painting them. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's a little too late, guys.
I'm always curious about how these categories are voted on, because like I know like the other ones, like they're like the different
are they past winners?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, is it only
Yeah.
people who have won animated short film Oscars or been nominated for those that vote on this? Because like that doesn't seem like something that would be like, I don't think you have to be an animated short film director to have an opinion on an animated short film.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because like I know for like Best Picture, everyone votes for those, but then for like, not everyone votes for sound mixing or sound editing. Not everyone votes for costume design or production design. I'm always curious about how all the individual categories are divided up with voting, especially these, like,
Oh yeah.
because it's a weird group of people that, like
It is. Yeah.
it's a lot of like not fully realized filmmakers yet, or up and coming filmmakers, and like is Kobe Bryant gonna vote on future animated short films now? Or
I hope not.
Anyway, moving on.
For best foreign language.
Okay, do you have like foreign, then documentary, then animated feature, then visual effects?
Yes.
Because I think I made my spreadsheet going.
Yes. Yeah, I do. Okay, so if you want to
up,
rotate
down,
now, yeah.
All right. So then we would have foreign language film. Nominated are A Fantastic Woman, Loveless, The Square, On Body and Soul, and The Insult. For this, I'm a little unsure of what I think is going to win, because the nominations themselves threw me for a loop. Like for my prognosticators, like In the Fade was nominated for like 2 out of the 3 and won both of them, and nothing that's been nominated for the Academy Award has won any of the prognosticators that I'm going by. I would say it's probably either A Fantastic Woman, Loveless, or The Square. The Square looked the most interesting to me, so I'm kind of rooting for The Square.
Yeah, I love the director who did The Square. I've been waiting for that. That's supposed to come to the theater near me, but I haven't seen it yet. I hope it comes soon. Yeah, but for me, it looks like A Fantastic Woman is expert predicted. What
I'll predict The Square just because I have no. I don't know how to divide between these 3.
I think one of these is on Netflix right now, and I keep meaning to watch it, and I don't know whether it's A Fantastic Woman or On Body and Soul. It might be On Body and Soul. But yeah.
I love how we're starting off with like all the categories we know nothing about.
Hey, welcome to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up, the podcast. We know nothing about what we're reporting to you, but we've got opinions.
Well, we're in documentary next, which I think we know a little bit more about.
Okay.
If you want to read those.
Of course. Best documentary, feature length. We have Faces Places, Icarus, Last Men in Aleppo, Strong Island, and Abacus, Small Enough to Jail.
So I'm going to try over like this next week to watch or at least I think Faces Places is in theaters right now, and I'm not going to go see it in theaters just because that's a way bigger time commitment.
Yeah.
But I've seen Icarus and I've seen Strong Island, so I want to watch Abacus, Small Enough to Jail, and Last Man in Aleppo because those are both streaming right now.
Are they both on Netflix?
One's on Netflix, the other one's on Amazon Prime, I believe. But I saw Icarus, which you had already seen. I don't think I was as high on it as you were.
Right. I think I just went into a blind, and it's a wild movie to go
into. It is
into
one of those,
blind,
I do like those documentaries where like they start out trying to make one documentary and then the story kind of falls in their lap.
Right.
I just felt like it was kind of confusing at parts, and
what the first documentary was supposed to be about.
That.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, when you watch the trailer, you're like, "Oh, it's about like the Russian doping scheme."
Oh yeah.
So then you're like, "Okay, like, what is he doing?" And like, I felt like a better documentary could have gone into like, what are the actual like effects of doping? Because you are kind of poisoning yourself a little bit. Like, even if it's helping you, accomplish physical feats, it's not a very healthy thing. There's a reason why it's. I guess it's illegal in sports, but I think it isn't it also like certain doping ones are like actually like banned to use, like not just for sports, but like as a person.
Oh, in general?
I think some of them are. I don't know if the ones that he uses are, but
I don't know.
Again, it would have been something that I wish the documentary went into a little bit more. And I think a better documentary would have gone into more. And then after watching, I watched Strong Island, and that
What
kind
was
of
that
just,
like?
it's really intense. I mean, again, I've only seen those 2 of these 5 so far, but that's my favorite. Like, I would like to see that win. I'm rooting for Strong Island. It's made by I can't remember the filmmaker's name. I should have looked that up beforehand. But basically, she's investigating or documenting the story of her brother's murder, where basically like her brother had a dispute with this guy at a local repair shop, went to confront him about it, went back into the garage, a gunshot was heard, and her brother was killed, yet no charges were ever filed against this guy. And like, it's one of those things where like, I think we're trained to believe like there's some like really dark underbelly of the whole thing, when in reality it's just kind of like people didn't really care enough about it because of, racism and societal structures to really look deeper into what was actually going on there. But it's a very personal documentary. Like, she makes it, but she's interviewing her mom and her brother's friends and her sister. And then she's like interviewing herself, where like she'll shut the camera up and like talk to herself. And then there's a lot of like really personal moments captured on it. Like her calling, like it opens in a really powerful way where like she calls the district attorney and is like, "Oh, like I'm the, sister of the person that was murdered in this case. And like, I was just wondering like if you wanted to talk, at all to me, because I'm going to be making a film about this." And the lady's just like, "Yeah, no, but we don't talk about cases like that," and just kind of like stonewalls her and refuses to talk about the case at all. And it's like it's a very powerful like opening scene. It's on Netflix. I would heavily recommend watching it. It is a tough watch, but it's a very well made documentary and very personal documentary.
Yeah.
But if I'm a betting man, I'm betting on Icarus to win best documentary.
Gold Derby experts would bet on Faces Places.
Mm-hmm.
So you better go out into theaters and see that one, Mike.
It just looks very boring to me. It's like an old lady and I guess the younger documentary filmmaker just kind of like on a road trip essentially. And it's supposed to be very lighthearted.
I think I have seen
I don't think it's like as deep as the rest of the subject matter. And
right.
Like, I mean, you can make lighthearted documentary films. But I don't know. I think when you have something as powerful as like Strong Island or like, both like Last Man in Aleppo and Abacus Small Enough to Jail look like very powerful films. Right. Icarus obviously has like very current implications, even if it's not the most well-made documentary, in my opinion.
Right.
But I don't know. Haven't seen Faces Places. I just
right.
If I think if any of these others were in theaters, I might go see them. But Faces Places, I was like, oh, that's the one that's in theaters. That looks like the most boring documentary to me.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I'm just looking at my Letterboxd real quick. I do have a list of just ranked documentaries of 2017. I'll read through these. I feel like I've talked about all these over the course of the year. 1, Icarus. 2, Long Shot, which we've talked about. 3, Voyeur. 4, Nobody Speak.
Is Voyeur just a one? I thought Voyeur was a series. It's just one documentary.
Oh yeah, it's just a documentary.
Netflix is so confusing with that sometimes.
Yeah,
where they show you something, I'm like, oh, here's a cool new series that comes out, and it's just one.
Oh yeah, it's just a documentary. It's a feature-length documentary. And then 4, Nobody Speak, Trials of the Free Press, which I talked about during the post episode.
Oh, that's the Hulk Hogan one.
Mm-hmm. And then Mommy Dead and Dearest. My girlfriend's into true crime, so she was excited to see that come out, and that's very interesting. It's about kind of like the Munchausen syndrome, where like a parent is projecting sickness onto like a child and convincing them they have that. And then in last place, Beware the Slenderman, which I was looking forward to, and it's kind of a shitty documentary. It's not bad, but it's probably the worst documentary that I saw this year out of the 6 that I've seen.
I think the other thing we should talk about is just how like the Oscars do feel like out of touch with documentary this year, strangely.
Yeah.
Like you have like City of Ghosts, which I think I downloaded the wrong version of my spreadsheet. Anyway, City of Ghosts like won like the BAFTA, I think, and then the DGA award for documentary. And then you have like Jane, which won the Producers Guild award for documentary, and like nothing that's been nominated won anything. There's a few of them that weren't even nominated for anything, like Last Man in Aleppo, Strong Island, and Faces Places weren't nominated for anything. I mean, I do have to agree that Strong Island is a phenomenal documentary, but it just feels like they're going down a weird road this year for some reason.
Right, yeah.
Or even like I remember hearing a lot about Cries from Syria, Chasing Coral, Earth, One Amazing Day. I didn't really hear a lot about Joshua, Teenager versus Superpower, but that was nominated for some of the other prognosticators.
Mm-hmm.
Just a weird year for documentary. But next would be animated. Oh, no, I didn't have the wrong one. I forgot that the BAFTAs were weird this year, where there was a bunch of stuff that like they I Am Not Your Negro won BAFTA this year, even though that was a film from last year.
Yeah.
And then the foreign film that won was another foreign movie from last year. I forget what it was. But next category, animated feature film. We have Coco, Loving Vincent, Ferdinand, The Boss Baby, and The Breadwinner. And if you bet on anything else but Coco, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
It's not even worth talking about. The only thing I want to talk about is Lego Batman movie should be here, but that's it.
Where's Lego Batman movie? Okay. And then the next category we have is Best Visual Effects. And for that we have War for the Planet of the Apes, Blade Runner 2049, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Kong, Skull Island. And experts will tell you that War for the Planet of the Apes will win.
I'm going to bet Blade Runner.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot of prognosticators for this, but War for the Planet and Blade Runner, they were nominated for anything they could have been. And they each won. War for the Planet of the Apes won at the Critics' Choice, and Blade Runner won at BAFTA. And I think the Oscars are probably more keen on Blade Runner 2049.
Right.
Like I think the Blade Runner is going to come away with close to the most wins at the Oscars, despite like just being in a bunch of like the visual. I think it's just such a visually stunning movie, and I think the Oscars recognize that with the amount of nominations it got. So I'm going to predict Blade Runner. Seems like experts are predicting War for the Planet of the Apes, but I think it's a toss up, so I won't be surprised either way.
But Andy Serkis, he acts and he's animated guy.
One of these days, I'm going to watch all the Planet of the Apes movies and catch up.
I'm not going to.
I
do
hear
that
so
one
many
day.
good things. I have to see whether it's real or not.
It's not real.
it's
Andy
not real.
Serkis is a human.
They didn't get the chimps to act.
Incredible performances by living animals.
Next, we have sound mixing, which I should have wrote it down. I read a really great explanation again of. I feel like I do this every year where I'm like, what's the difference between sound editing and sound mixing?
They have the same nominees. You could read. We could do both categories right now.
I think it's basically like a sound editor is also responsible for like creating sounds. You know, like they're putting everything in there. They're making the decisions about like if you. It's helpful to look also at like one of the guilds sort of that has to do with sound editing, but not sound mixing, is the Motion Picture Sound Editors Guild. And like their categories are like music, dialogue, and Foley.
Right.
Which is helpful to think about, like, you know, they're the Foley artists are part of the sound editor's job, where they're sending the files to the sound editor. He's arranging where everything goes, but he's not messing with, like, you know, the levels of everything or the panning of everything and stuff like that. So sound mixing, we have Dunkirk, Baby Driver, Star Wars, The Last Jedi, The Shape of Water, and Blade Runner 2049. What is today the 24th?
It is, yes.
I'm actually going to look up live right now because the one of my prognosticators should be awarding their award tonight.
All right, well
Bear
then
with me.
I'll go over mine.
Tell me what.
Again, I should really know the difference. I've looked up the difference between best sound editing and best sound mixing quite a few times. I've had Sabri's sister explain it to me a bunch of times because that's what she's studying in school. Sierra, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on sometime. You can explain to us what wife of previous guest, Connor Burns.
Oh, okay. The awards began at 7:30 Pacific.
Oh, okay.
So
that's not,
it's 11 o'clock now. So it began half an hour ago. So they haven't announced the big awards yet. So it was the Cinema Audio Society.
But yeah, for sound mixing and sound editing, they do have the same films nominated. Their nominees are exactly alike. The orders are a little different, but for experts, they have Dunkirk winning for both.
I would agree for both, yeah.
Okay. Whereas on Best Sound Editing, Star Wars is in 5th place, whereas in Best Sound Mixing, Star Wars is in 3rd place. So there's a little bit of a mix-up, you know, kind of in there. But it looks like Dunkirk and Baby Driver consistently 1-2, 1-2. All right.
So we don't have to do sound editing. So now we're on to original song. We've got This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. Remember Me from Coco, Mystery of Love from Call Me By Your Name, Stand Up for Something from Marshall, and Mighty River from Mudbound. And they did just confirm that all the Best Original Song nominees are performing at the Oscars. So we will see Sufjan Stevens perform at the Academy Awards.
I'm very excited.
Which is super fucking cool. Yeah, I'm hoping it's. 'Cause I haven't really watched a lot of live Sufjan like while not being in the audience for a Sufjan concert, and there is something to be said about like being in a live audience. Like there's an adrenaline to it that kind of like warps your perception of how good an artist is, and I'm hoping I'm not let down by him on the live stage. But I mean, they should have like the craziest of production, and
even if so, whatever. I mean,
it's still just cool to see him. But
yeah, it's not.
We're just hoping that like people seeing Sufjan for the first time aren't like, who's this fucking nerd with a guitar?
Hey nerd, get off the stage, nerd. Well, it's not like we've had way more obscure kind of like people on stage singing, like songs kind of like, who's this person who's singing this song for a documentary nobody's heard of, like this, like
they have also had some very crazy famous people,
of
like
course,
Bruce Springsteen or Sting or Lady Gaga.
Like who's going to sing for the Greatest Showman performance, I
think it's just the one person that the lead for that song. I can't remember her name. Kayla something or Kaylee something. I didn't see it.
But yeah, I think once again, you're a fool if you don't think Remember Me is going to win of Coco.
I would call it a toss-up between that and This Is Me, actually.
Oh, okay.
But there's not a whole lot of prognosticators for this. Yeah, I would probably lean towards Coco just because it had a nomination in one other category, so the Academy was obviously somewhat favorable to it, whereas Greatest Showman had nothing. Besides, I don't think Greatest Showman didn't even have Best Original Score, despite being a musical, which I thought was a little telling. So yeah, I'll predict Coco as well, but I do think it's a little bit of a toss-up.
It's kind of crazy that we didn't. It came out at a crazy time, but it is kind of crazy that we never ended up reviewing Coco this year. I mean, I don't think either of us really had an interest in the movie.
Yeah.
We reviewed Lego Ninjago movie and not Coco. But
well, again, they weren't out at the same time.
Coco came out in...
We were also coming off of Lego Batman, which we loved, and we're like, Lego Ninjago could be just as good.
Right. And
wah, wah, wah.
It was a top earner. Coco came out during the Oscar rush, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk Best Score. We have The Shape of Water, Phantom Thread, which you can check out our review of this Thursday, starring Jordan Weinrich.
Hey-oh. Wave. Wave, monkey, wave.
The Shape of Water, Phantom Thread, Dunkirk, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And once again, experts will tell you that The Shape of Water, which I guess is Alexander Desplat.
Yeah. That's that one. That would be my prediction as well. It won the Golden Globe, the Critics' Choice Award, and the BAFTA Award.
I do love that score. I also do love the Phantom Thread score, as I just said.
I also still love the Dunkirk score too. I was just watching the final scene of Dunkirk just because it was on like recommended YouTube videos.
Right.
I was like tearing up a little bit again. And like that's like even like the more like cinematic part of the score, whereas the rest of it is just that like.
Yeah, but I love that too. Yeah, that's so good.
It's very effective. It does more for that movie than other more cinematic scores do for their movies. The other two I don't really care about. I hated the 3 Billboards score and the Star Wars score. As much as I love Star Wars and John Williams, I thought it was one of the weakest.
It felt
Star
recycled.
Wars. Yeah. It didn't feel like there was much new for Star Wars or even for that trilogy. They were recycling stuff from The Force Awakens as well. But John Williams is also a busy man. I feel like when Star Wars comes up, he's like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
I'll wait until the last minute and then I'll throw some shit together.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shape of Water will probably win. We'll be very surprised if it doesn't. We're on to production design. We've got Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Beauty and the Beast, Blade Runner 2049, and The Shape of Water. And I would be pretty surprised if Shape of Water didn't win here as well.
As would I.
It could, if it's not Shape of Water, it's Blade Runner 2049. But Shape of Water won the Critics' Choice, the American Design. I have the initials written down, but not what it actually stands for. The ADG award for production.
Like The Shape of Water was the first film that we reviewed, and we immediately said, like, this should win Best Production Design.
It's still my favorite production design of the year. And that's in a year that includes like Blade Runner 2049 and Dunkirk. But yeah, and is that what the experts are predicting as well? Shape of Water?
The Shape of Water. Yeah. And then we also have Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
The only category that has only 3 nominees for some reason.
Only 3 nominees, yeah. We have Darkest Hour, Wonder, and Victoria and Abdul. And I think everyone would have you know that Darkest Hour is probably going to win.
Oh, all right, hold on. It's the 24th, so actually the Makeup and Hair Guild awarded their stuff today, so kill some time because I'm going to look up and see if those were awarded today or if they're Pacific time as well.
I didn't see Wonder. I didn't see Victoria and Abdul.
Nope, 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific.
Jeez, these are just some late award ceremonies.
It's like 2 o'clock our time. Sorry, guys. Should have waited until tomorrow to record this. I didn't realize that because these are like my last. The 24th was like kind of. I think there's one on the 26th.
We can give them more slightly updated in our Oscar reactions because I'm sure you'll use those to your advantage for your spreadsheet.
Excuse me.
Or prediction sheet or whatever.
But without having the.
If you guys have any predictions for the Oscars, please tweet them at us. We'd love to see what everybody else's thoughts are. If you fill out the sheets like Mike and I do, go ahead, send them to us.
Without having the Makeup and Hair, I would say Darkest Hour, just because it's won everything so far. The Critics' Choice for Makeup and Hair, the BAFTA for Makeup and Hair, and then everything else that I have as a prognosticator is from the Makeup and Hair Guild. And they like split it up into like 5, a bunch of different categories, but I'm looking at the 5 relevant categories.
I might have said this in our nomination reactions, but maybe it came out too late. Maybe we'll see it next year. But I thought it wasn't a great movie. But again, Suicide Squad wasn't either, and it won last year for best makeup and hairstyling. But I thought the makeup in Netflix Bright on Joel Edgerton as like a...
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people thought that was going to be up for more too.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
So like they split it in the Makeup and Hair Guild with where it's like
using
period makeup, period hair, special effects, and contemporary makeup and contemporary hair. And for some reason, Bright was nominated for period makeup. I don't know why. They might be like it might be like period and fantasy or something like that, rather than contemporary. Because I think they try to view contemporary as separate because it's just kind of like, you're not trying to be historically accurate. You're not trying to really create something new. You're trying to just create a feeling that a character has, or you're trying to describe that character in some way physically.
Is there any way that you can tell that my mic is still working? I just realized I pulled on my mic cord
still working.
very hard. I was like,
there may be a loud pop, but it's still going.
I was like, what is this cord? And it got caught between my knees and I pulled it. So
we're good.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you guys experienced a loud pop.
Let's keep on rolling, baby. Dude. Oh, did you say Gold Derby is predicting Darkest Hour? The experts.
That's correct. Yes.
All right. So we're on to film editing, and we have 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Baby Driver, The Shape of Water, I, Tonya, and Dunkirk. And you could kind of call this one a toss-up between Dunkirk and Baby Driver.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Dunkirk.
I'm going to go with Dunkirk as well. I'd personally like to see Baby Driver win, but I'm
happy to see Baby Driver nominated, but I would rather see Dunkirk win.
I would have liked to see Scott Pilgrim nominated back when it came out, because I think I thought that was far better editing than Baby Driver. I don't know. Baby Driver was kind of the same, but a lesser editing. But yeah.
What are experts a toss-up, or?
No, it looks pretty leaning into Dunkirk, but Baby Driver is safely in second.
I think it's another case of like Dunkirk was nominated for like everything else, so like you got to give the favoritism to Dunkirk there.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
What do we got next? Costume design.
So for best costume design, we have Phantom Thread, Beauty and the Beast, The Shape of Water, Darkest Hour, and Victoria and Abdul. And experts will have you believe Phantom Thread will win.
I would agree with that as well. Phantom Thread won the Critics' Choice and the BAFTA. And if it's not Phantom Thread, it's Shape of Water, because they won the Costume Designers Guild for a period piece.
Okay.
And then everything else is just kind of really too spread out.
Okay, the experts actually have Beauty and the Beast in second. Yeah. The Phantom Thread is just, for me personally,
it's a movie about fashion that had great fashion in it. I don't know a whole lot about costume design, but Phantom Thread felt accurate. It didn't get in the way at all. I felt like Beauty and the Beast's, some of their costumes got in the way, where I was just kind of like, that's a weird looking thing. Like,
yeah, I think we talked about that during the Oscar nominations.
Shape of Water I would be fine with.
But this is one of those categories that I don't have I don't care a whole lot. And I don't have a huge opinion on. This one I do care a whole lot about, though. We got cinematography. We have Mudbound with Rachel Morrison, Shape of Water with Dan Laustsen, Dunkirk with Hoyt van Hoytema, Darkest Hour with Bruno Delbonnel, and Blade Runner 2049 with the Deke, Roger Deakins.
Give him the Deke!
And Roger Deakins about to get... Is this his first?
Yes.
If he wins?
Yes.
Yeah, give Roger that that Oscar.
Give him that Deke. And...
How many times has he been nominated?
It's in the teens.
But no win.
But no win. And I really wouldn't mind him winning this.
It's definitely one of the more... like. I think we both gave Blade Runner 2049 a 4 fingers, and that's like almost solely carried by how beautiful and gorgeous the movie is.
Right, definitely, yeah.
I wouldn't hate... I think I've been pretty happy with any of these in here. They're all pretty great cinematography. But yeah, definitely pulling and rooting for Roger Deke for Blade Runner. Experts agree?
Experts agree. With Dunkirk pretty far in second. So for best original screenplay, we have The Big Sick, The Shape of Water, Lady Bird, 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, and Get Out. And once again, the experts predict Get Out will win. But it's really close with
3 Billboards?
Yes.
See, this is a weird one where it's like the way I do my spreadsheet, I'm looking at what was nominated for what, and then what won what as well. And like you have like Lady Bird, which was nominated for everything: the Golden Globe, the Critics' Choice, the Writers Guild for Original, and the BAFTA. And then you have The Shape of Water nominated for all 4 as well. And then you have like Get Out, which won the Critics' Choice and the Writers Guild and was nominated for the BAFTA, but missed out on the Golden Globes. or Three Billboards, which was won the Golden Globe, was nominated for the Critics' Choice, and won the BAFTA, but missed out on the Writers Guild. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have like two that were nominated for everything but didn't win anything, and then you have two that missed out on one, but won two on their own. I think I would agree that Get Out would win as well. I think it winning the Writers Guild is telling because those are the people that are voting for this. So I think that's a stronger prognosticator. Mm-hmm. And I think it missing out on the Golden Globes is all right because the Golden Globes, I don't think they split between original and adapted, if I'm not mistaken.
I'd have to look it up. Yeah,
but I don't think they do.
Okay.
So it not getting nominated for the Golden Globe isn't a huge miss, as much as Three Billboards not even getting nominated for the Writers Guild. That's a miss for me. So yeah, I'll push Get Out a little higher for that and Get Out as well.
Yeah, I was literally about to say between top choice and odds, I think Get Out and Three Billboards is tied. I almost feel like Get Out is in first just alphabetically. I don't know. It could be something else, but just from the stats in front of me, that's what it looks like. How about that best adapted screenplay?
Oh. Yeah, we're going the wrong way. Best adapted screenplay, we have The Disaster Artist, Call Me By Your Name, Mudbound, Logan, and Molly's Game. And again, another weird case where Molly's Game was nominated for all four, Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, Writers Guild, and BAFTA, but won nothing. And then you have Call Me By Your Name, which won Critics' Choice, Writers Guild, and BAFTA, but missed the Golden Globe. But again, Golden Globe is not splitting. So I'll predict Call Me By Your Name for sure for this. It's just a weird look to see. Like, I have it sorting so that like the one that has the most nominations goes to the top, and then it's sorting by
right. It's it's almost like Golden Globe isn't a real award ceremony. Call Me By Your Name is predicted by experts with overwhelming well,
they've won everything so far. There wasn't even the way it splits with adapted. Like, there isn't a separate Golden Globe category for adapted. So they've won everything they could win so far. We got Best Supporting Actress. Is that what you have next? We have Laurie Metcalf, Lady Bird, Mary J. Blige, Mudbound, Leslie Manville, Phantom Thread, Octavia Spencer, The Shape of Water, and Allison Janney from I, Tonya. And you're an absolute fool if you bet on anyone besides Allison Janney. She was nominated for everything. She won everything so far.
Yeah, the only person competing with her is Laurie Metcalf. But the experts predict Allison Janney. For Best Supporting Actor, we have Woody Harrelson. Why? Christopher Plummer. Why? Richard Jenkins, Willem Dafoe, and Sam Rockwell. The experts predict Sam Rockwell.
This is kind of a boring year for acting.
It's super boring.
Just because all four, there's no competition. Even if there are, I think, roles that I think are better and more better performed than these, there's no one that you could predict to win over them. Like, it's just all four acting categories are going to walk away with the Oscar. So yeah, Sam Rockwell nominated for all four, won all four. Willem Dafoe is the only one who could really give him a run for his money.
Right.
I don't know who I'm actually rooting for in that category.
Probably Willem Dafoe. Maybe Richard Jenkins. Those are literally the only two I like in that category.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen All the Money in the World.
I don't need to see it.
But I actively hate Woody Harrelson being nominated for this. I feel like that has to be a little bit of like people appreciating Woody Harrelson's past work. Like, he has been nominated before. He was nominated for The Messenger, wasn't he?
Yes.
Which he's way better in that. I love Woody Harrelson. I just did not like him in this role.
Yeah, it's rare that I don't like him in roles. It sucks to I don't know.
Ready to see him in Star Wars?
We'll see you in June. Not December. What does that say about that movie?
Lowering your expectations.
Let's line it up with those superhero movies.
Best Actress, we've got Margot Robbie, I, Tonya, Sally Hawkins, The Shape of Water, Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird, Frances McDormand, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and Meryl Streep, The Post. And another one where Frances McDormand's probably going to walk away with it. The only award she didn't win was Golden Globe for comedy, which she couldn't because she wasn't in that because of the split. Saoirse Ronan won it. So I would say, even though Saoirse Ronan won for Lady Bird, I would say Sally Hawkins is probably the only one that could give her a run for her money.
Mm-hmm. Which also was...
Or I guess you can never really count Meryl Streep out.
Yeah. Which also was Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, not a comedy.
Didn't know what it was. It just went where it wanted to go.
This is just problematic all over.
The experts have Frances, but who do they have second?
Saoirse.
So they're probably going by the same stuff I'm going by, where she's the only other one that won anything else. Mm-hmm. So,
but she's nobody's top choice. It's everybody else's. Yeah, everybody chose Frances McDormand. It's just her odds are for some reason better. Yeah. So then for Best Actor, we have Denzel Washington, Daniel Kaluuya, Daniel Day-Lewis, Timothée,
I think.
Although
he says he doesn't ask people to call him. He just says, "Call me Timothy."
Yeah.
Call me by your name, he says.
And Gary Oldman. That old fucking man. It's getting late in the in this episode. But yeah, it's again, there's no real contest in any of these categories. Gary
Oldman's gonna walk home. Mm-hmm. Is this his first Oscar win? If he wins, I feel like it is, but I don't know.
It's like, now that I've seen the Phantom Thread, it's like just now making me a little sick. That like
it's one of those things where
Timothée and Daniel Day, the A's, won't win, and Gary Oldman just put on a fuck ton of makeup and was like, "Argh!"
He is great, but it is one of those things where it's like you're getting caught up in the wrong aspect of it. Like, right, it's kind of like how, like, we were pointing out with like Octavia Spencer. Like, she's great, but what's really carrying that performance is the writing of that role.
Right. Yeah.
So like, give the credit where it's due for that role. Or even like, as much as I like Richard Jenkins, like, again, a lot of like,
definitely.
a lot of what works for that role is carried by the writing of that role. And I feel like a lot of what works for Gary Oldman is carried by the makeup crew of that.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't do anything wrong, it's no discredit to him. But when we're talking about like the top film honor for acting for the year, like, we do have to kind of split hairs a little bit. And
right. It's also like, yeah, I don't know. Daniel Day-Lewis is so good, but it might be one of those things where it's just kind of like, you know,
who saw it? Yeah.
He's already won it, kind of thing.
Yeah, 3 times he's the most winningest actor, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe so. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, Gary Oldman. If it's not Gary Oldman, I would say it's Timothée or Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
Probably more leaning towards Timothée, but neither of them have won anything. Because the only other person who won something was James Franco at the Golden Globes for comedy, and that's not happening. And now we're at Best Director. We've got Guillermo del Toro, The Shape of Water, Greta Gerwig, Lady Bird, Jordan Peele, Get Out, Christopher Nolan, Dunkirk, and Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread. And once again, a somewhat boring category.
Yeah.
Even if one of the more deserving categories where Guillermo will get his first Oscar for directing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not Guillermo, it's probably Christopher Nolan. And I don't think any of the others stand a chance here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. I mean, it is nice to see Jordan Peele and Greta Gerwig in this category. I'm glad they can carry this title of Oscar nominated, at least.
Both directing their first films this year.
Yeah.
Although a lot of people have been like, Greta Gerwig's directed before, but it's been in like a co-directing role.
She has. I can't believe I didn't bring that up in Lady Bird. I literally listened back and I was like, I could have sworn I saw something directed by her, like in her Mumblecore days. Like, I guess this is her first thing. Like, I don't know. I'm wrong.
Big enough to really qualify for anything.
Or maybe that it's just a co-directed and it's her first solo directed kind of thing. It was, I literally watched it. It's called Nights and Weekends and it's directed by her and Joe Swansburg, who is another fantastic director.
They talk about it in the J. Duplass episode of You Made It Weird.
Oh, do they?
They talk about Greta at some point, yeah.
Because she's in Baghead too. Yeah, it's a Nights and Weekends. It's a great movie, and I think the two of them direct it and the two of them star in it. And you see Joe Swansburg's penis, and it's kind of erect.
I mean, it's fine because it's not like she's getting nominated for like first time director,
right? Yeah.
Whereas like Jordan Peele like won the first time director at the DGA Awards, and that truly was his first time. Although I'm sure, he's directed stuff, I'm sure, for Key and Peele,
right?
But yeah, Guillermo is going to walk away with this for sure. And now we're at Best Picture.
It's also so bizarre because Jordan Peele did like Keanu last year.
Did he direct it?
No, he didn't direct it, but it was just...
It was in.
Yeah. That was like, he wrote it. But for Best Picture, the big baddie, we have Darkest Hour, The Post, Phantom Thread, Call Me By Your Name, Dunkirk, Lady Bird, Get Out, 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, and The Shape of Water.
Let's do this in reverse.
Okay.
We'll start from what we think has the least chance of winning, just to switch things up.
Darkest Hour.
Is that what the experts say? Darkest Hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, so like, again, like Phantom Thread nominated for nothing. Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, Producers Guild, Screen Actors Guild, American Cinema Editors, Directors Guild, Writers Guild, BAFTA, nothing. So obviously won nothing. So like by like statistical metrics, it's at the bottom of the list. But it be getting nominated for 6 Oscars tells me that like there's something that the Academy, it resonated with the Academy in some way.
Right.
So I still can't put it at like the least likely to win the Oscar. I even would put it almost in like the, not the top group, but like the second tier
right.
of like likely to win. So yeah, I would say Darkest Hour. I'd say The Post after that.
Same.
What do you have after that?
Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread? I'll put, I guess I'll put Phantom Thread there.
Then Call Me By Your Name.
I'll put
Dunkirk,
yeah.
Lady Bird.
I'll put Lady Bird ahead of Get Out.
Get Out. And then 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. And Shape of Water winning.
They're predicting Shape of Water to win.
Yes, but if you go into all, it has 3 Billboards. So I guess, or combined or whatever. So
see, like the way it works out, I'm excited for the Oscars. I'm excited every year.
Right.
But I feel like, last year we thought La La Land was going to walk away. We thought it was like a done deal, and then Moonlight took it out at the last second, and that was awesome and very cool. This year, I'm excited because we're going into it truly not knowing what's going to walk away with it. Or even like the year that like Spotlight won, that was exciting because we thought The Revenant was going to win, and then Spotlight walked. I feel like the Oscars have been like kind of unpredictable the last couple of years. At least in the Best Picture category.
Yeah.
I think since they've been able to add 9, it's gotten more exciting because there's, rather than someone voting for their top choice among 5, they're voting among 9, and the votes are getting, split up and cast different ways. But you have like Shape of Water and 3 Billboards. Shape of Water was nominated for Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, Producers Guild, American Cinema Editors, Directors Guild,
Writers Guild, BAFTA. The only thing it missed out on was the Screen Actors Guild ensemble casts, which Three Billboards did get, but Three Billboards didn't get nominated for a writing award. And each of them won 3 of those, where Shape of Water won Critics' Choice, the Producers Guild, and the Directors Guild. And then Three Billboards won Golden Globes, the Screen Actors Guild, and the BAFTA. But I think that Three Billboards not getting nominated for Best Director at the Oscars is very telling, and that gives me a slight edge to go towards Shape of Water. But it is very much up in the air. I feel like if I have to bet, if there's a gun to my head, I'm going to go to Shape of Water. But I won't be surprised if it's Three Billboards. I also won't be surprised if it's Get Out, Lady Bird, Dunkirk, Call Me By Your Name, or Phantom Thread. Anything but the poster Darkest Hour, I think, stands a somewhat chance here.
It's nice that the top 4, 3 of those are female leads, and Get Out is a person of color lead. So it is nice that that's the case.
It does feel like a more representative year at the Oscars.
But yeah, I hope The Shape of Water wins as well. I would do almost anything for Three Billboards not to win.
You hear that, Academy?
Yeah. Dear Academy.
Call in your requests now.
Oh, boy.
All right, so what do we have? When are the Oscars?
They're
next week for us, but what's like the actual date so we can all right, so it's March 4th, 2018. I think they're starting at a weird time this year, so it's 5:00 Pacific, so it's 8:00 our time. Usually they start at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific.
Right.
So that probably means that like the red carpet stuff's going to start at like 6:30 Eastern, 3:30, 2:30 Pacific. No, 2:30, 3:30. I could do math.
Yeah.
3:30 Pacific. The red carpet stuff will probably start if you're interested in that. So you gotta definitely tune in. Jimmy Kimmel is hosting for the second time. I'm looking forward to some jokes about the escapade from last year, the scandalous Moonlight incident. Excuse me. And yeah, so we're gonna watch those. We'll probably do a little bit of live tweeting during the event if we see anything that interests us. We might just also be very caught up in what's actually going on and not do anything like we did last year. But definitely after the Oscars, we're going to immediately record our reactions and our wrap up to who actually won. We'll do a short half-hour episode in there if you guys are curious about that, and we'll edit it and post it that night even too, so you guys can check that out. So look forward to that. I don't know if there's anything else really to talk about in this episode.
I don't think so.
Them's the predictions. Definitely get in touch with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, just to let us know what you're thinking will win, in the comments on SoundCloud of this episode even, let us know if you agree or disagree with our predictions for this, what you're hoping will win, what you think got snubbed. Just continue the conversation with us about the Oscars, because Lord knows we can't get enough of talking about the Oscars.
Right, yeah. We're ready to talk about them.
3 episodes dedicated solely just to the Oscars. This is our Super Bowl.
It is. Hashtag our Super Bowl.
So we'll see you guys this Thursday for our final review of 2017. We reviewed The Phantom Thread with the sleeping Jordan Weinrich right now.
Aww.
The hibernating bear.
He's been through a lot.
That was a great episode, though, so check that out this Thursday. And then on Sunday, after the Oscars, we'll post our reaction episode as quickly as possible.
And most importantly, we'll see you on Friday
for the Handy Awards, the more important awards, which you guys got to vote on, hopefully, if you got your votes in time. If not, make sure you vote next year.
Yeah, do it.
But you can find that at howmanyfingerspodcast.com. We'll have a post there. You can also just go to our YouTube and subscribe early, and then you'll get a notification when the handies are posted. That's a pretty cool way to get notified about it as well.
But yeah, we're gonna sign out of this. We're gonna go finish working on the handies, get prepared to film them tomorrow, and probably play a little bit of PUBG.
Yeah.
And then go to bed. So signing out for How Many Fingers the Podcast, I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
And we'll see you at the Oscars.
See you there.